Hello, welcome back. I wanted to come on here today and just give a little bit of a life update, how I'm doing lately, because now that we're in March, this is the month that baby would have been due, and I felt like it was appropriate just to kind of share where I'm at, where my headspace is at, where I'm at emotionally. At this point, physically, my body's back to normal. I'm having regular cycles. Like, physically, there are no more concerns. Emotionally, I am a wreck. I started middle of February, maybe close to the beginning of February. I'm not quite sure. The last few weeks, I have been just kind of in the slumps. And as I started thinking about, okay, March is coming, we would have been preparing, I slowly became more emotional. And now that we're in March, I'm filming this at the beginning of March, we will have been due the third week of March. The emotions have hit all over again. And in some ways, I feel like I'm starting this emotional just weight all over again. And I was around a group of ladies about a week ago, and I knew it was coming. I felt like this breakdown was coming, but I completely just broke down, shared that I was struggling. I mean, I had been keeping it pretty internal for a while, just not wanting to bring my problems onto somebody else. But then it got to a point where I'm like, okay, it's gonna happen. And I was already on the verge of sharing, or on the verge of just completely emotionally just breaking, and it happened. And it has happened multiple times over the last couple of weeks, and at this point I anticipate I'll probably have another emotional breakdown, probably more, probably multiple. So I'm prepared for that. My husband's prepared for that. And really just seeking comfort. I've had a lot of conversations that I didn't know I needed to have, that the Lord has provided for me. The Lord has provided support, continuous support. And man, the support is phenomenal. And when I keep telling myself, okay, Lord, I'm just not going to bring my problems, I'm just going to deal with it no matter how much it hurts. And every time I say that, the Lord's like, no, you're not. And He brings my support system around once again. And I love it. Obviously, it's appropriate. I'm not sitting complaining and having this quote unquote victim mentality to where I'm just sharing every time I feel a certain way. But when it comes to the things that I am going through and the pain that is there, the Lord just keeps saying, you're not doing this alone. Don't think you are, because you're not. And whether it's my husband coming alongside me saying, I'm here for you, or it's women who have been through this before, I'm here for you. And when I got to the place where I completely broke down, the Lord said, here you go. And in a lot of ways, if I'm being honest, I do feel a little bit ashamed because I did. But I think that in part is the anxiety, overthinking, was this right? Was this not right? Should I have done this? But then when I talked to my husband, he said, no, you did it right. You were okay. And then, just especially when it happens, when the Lord's providing that, I have to tell myself I was not intentionally breaking down. I was emotionally stirring for a while. And then when I just started crying and busting into tears that day, it was just the Lord saying, no, it's time. You're going to be here when you do it. One, because if I'm going to be around anybody, it's going to be some groups of women who've been through this and who know how to help me through it. And every person who said something to me was very encouraging and was sharing their experience, as well as telling me this, if you're going to break down, this is, being around like-minded men and women is the place to do it. Being around other Christians, being around people who've been through it, this is a place to do it. And to just have that encouragement, even though sometimes I feel like there's some, not, is shame the right word? I don't know if it's a shame or a shame, but when it just doesn't always feel comfortable, I feel like that's often the enemy saying, like, this is how you're supposed to feel, and it's not. And I think a lot of that too is, again, the anxiety. Every moment, every thought that's not from the Lord is from the enemy. And to just look back and say, no, that breakdown, when I got emotional, it was healing taking place. It was, I'll often say that when you are hurting, there is healing, and that it hurts to heal. And so every time I'm crying, or every time things feel hard, what I'm really doing is I'm healing from the loss. I'm grieving the loss. And sometimes it comes at the most oddest of times. And I feel like the Lord's way of saying, this is healing taking place. And especially when it's around other believers, and it's around other people who've been through what I've been through, and then women who've experienced it firsthand have said, this is how it happens. This is grieving, and again, as a woman, as a mother, I am not only going through the loss externally grieving somebody that I loved, but my body went through it. This baby was in my womb when this baby passed away. And so not only externally am I grieving, but internally my body lost somebody. And being early miscarriage, I'm the only one who truly felt this baby. Like, I felt this baby within me. I feel like I felt the baby move before the baby passed away. And in some ways, I feel like when the baby moved, that was the baby's way of telling me goodbye. I don't know, what, I couldn't tell you how much truth there is to that, but I feel like that may have been the Lord, telling me the baby's going home. And being able to feel that movement when I did, it was right around the time the baby passed away. And so just kind of that little, like, goodbye, Mom. And as a mother, feeling that loss, going through that pregnancy loss, it hits different than losing somebody externally. And though that loss, any loss, is incredibly, incredibly hard, especially when it's close like that, going through it, and it's just, going through pregnancy loss has been so much harder than going through postpartum. When you have a baby in postpartum, it's hard. And learning and adjusting to having a new baby in the home, it's incredibly hard, but it's incredibly fulfilling and joyful and exciting. And going through pregnancy loss, as well as a postpartum season, which I tend to look at it more as a postpartum season, it has been way harder than going through postpartum. Because I lost somebody that I love very much. And I'm not holding a baby in my arms. I'm not getting ready to hold this baby in my arms coming up. I'm grieving what would have been, who I was getting ready to have. And in many ways, still, my children are grieving that loss. And trying to help them through that loss, when I really am still trying to navigate that loss myself. It's been really hard. And, my husband, I know he feels it too, and I know he's being strong, and he's expressed the hardest part for him was just watching me go through this, and he's been so supportive. and him seeing where I've been in this and going through it, he'll tell me, I can never understand what you're going through, but I can see how much it hurts. And for him, again, the hardest part, not really knowing how to help me, but also taking on the weight of our family as I've gone through it these last 6-8 months, something like that. We found out that we lost the baby at the end of August, and it is now March. So he's just been so supportive and lifting me up and making sure that my needs are met, that the kids' needs are met, and how to help them. I'm pretty sure I did a video about how we kind of helped our kids through this, and I'll go ahead and link it down below. At the same time, they're still grieving in their own way. It's just trying to figure out how to help navigate that while also navigating this loss myself. I'm sometimes just don't know whether, do I look too much into it? Am I looking too much into it? Am I not looking into it enough? I mean, I know they're resilient. They're truly amazing, beautiful, wonderful children, and they don't really understand it. They're all so little still. But they do understand that there's loss there, and in many ways they are asking for another baby. And I don't know how much of that part itself is their way of grieving, or if it's they're genuinely looking forward to things, down the road. To, we've had many conversations about what our family looks like going forward. So if that's something that they may be looking forward to, and of course we're not there yet. It's not time for that season of our lives just yet. I mean, the timing is obviously, it's all in the Lord. It's all His timing, but again, not knowing whether or not that's coming from a place of grief or a place of wondering what the future looks like in our family. So just not really sure how to navigate that. My fear is trying to look too much into it and trying to make it seem like they're grieving when they're just thinking about other things, or not looking enough into it when they really are grieving. So I feel like that's been another real challenge, especially lately, especially because we are, again, still grieving. I'm especially still grieving this loss, and now that we're here approaching the due date, or what would have been the due date, it, again, like a whole new wave of emotions, and again, just like that weight, it feels like it's there again. And I felt like I did good for a while. I felt like there was like a month or two there, probably more about 2 months, possibly 3, between like when I was still like, once I physically healed up and I did the memory box, I did good for probably about 2 months, 2-ish months or so. And I was doing fine, doing normal things again. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it hit me, and it hit me hard. And I was not expecting it at all. I mean, it'd been in the back of my mind, but when it hit, when the weight of it just hit, it was just like a ton of bricks just coming down on me. Again, not expecting it. And also feeling like there's something missing in our home, someone missing in our home. I don't know how much my family feels that, but I know that I feel very much like there's a member of our family missing, and just that emptiness and that void. And it just, it feels like just, again, this huge kind of void, at least for me. I can't speak to the rest of my family, but this void in my life of there's someone that's supposed to be there that's not there. And so, again, just navigating that. My anxiety has picked up by a lot in the last month or so. I feel like I'm having more panic attacks again. I'm managing them. I'm utilizing the tools. As I said in previous videos, I've got the tools for when that happens, so I am utilizing the tools. It's not running me, but I do feel like I'm in a season again where some of that anxiety is there, and it's nothing I didn't kind of already expect going through all of this. But I know that it's definitely a lingering thing. Also, restoration. I've been through difficult things in my life. My husband and I have been through difficult things in our lives, and seemingly impossible things, at least in my mind. I have also seen what happens when God restores things. And I've seen the beauty of restoration and faith and fighting to go forward and fighting to forgive the past. And again, just seeing complete brokenness in my home, to be on the other side of that brokenness. And it is so incredibly beautiful when you just put your trust in the Lord and you watch him work and you keep fighting. And though this is not the same situation, I know that there's healing on the other side of this. I don't believe, at least for me, that I'm there yet. I don't believe that I'm on the other side of this. I believe that I've done a lot of healing, but I still believe that there's more to go. Again, especially because we are in the due date month and some of those hard emotions are coming back. I believe that there will be healing, or I believe that healing is in the process of happening, but we're not there yet. I do believe that we will seek restoration, that we will see restoration. What that looks like, I'm not entirely sure. I have a couple of ideas in my head of what it could look like, but as far as the restoration, I don't know what that looks like, because this is loss. I've seen, when I talk about, I've seen God's restoration in my life. I am on the other side of that. I've seen restoration of my marriage when my marriage didn't look like it was going to work, and it looked like things were bleak and hard, and the Lord restored that. And I think the difference with this one is this baby's not coming back. This baby's with Jesus, and I know that this baby lived a great life the little time that this baby had here on this earth. This baby's never going to be back in my womb. We are not going to get our baby back. And so when I think of restoration, I don't know what that looks like. I guess some of the things in my mind would be when the Lord sees fit to allow us to have another baby, would be my initial thought. Maybe there are some other things that we don't know about down the road, but I do believe that restoration at some point will take place. And again, I don't know what that looks like. I don't expect another baby to replace the one that we had or the one that we lost. It's not about replacing, but I do see it as a way to feel some of the restoration that could happen. Again, my husband and I, we don't have a timeline. And even if we do have a timeline, it's not up to us to decide what that looks like. Is it something that I desire? Yes. But it's not up to me to decide. But when I do think of restoration, that's kind of my initial thoughts. But maybe God has other plans. Maybe God has more to it. Maybe it looks something completely different than what I think about. I don't know. All I know is that I believe that restoration will take place in my life. I don't know what or when or how, but I do know that it will happen. I believe that restoration will happen. I have seen restoration in my life in the past. And when I look at what I've been through in the past and what my family has made it through, I look at this and I think we will get there. We're just not there yet. And for me, especially as a mom, I believe that there will be healing for me. I believe that I am in the process of healing. Again, it hurts to heal, and I feel like I'm in the healing. I'm just not on the other side yet. If you have gone through pregnancy loss or the loss of a child or any kind of loss, really, I am so incredibly sorry that you are going through this. I'm so incredibly sad for you. My heart breaks for you. And I wish I had words to say, but I don't have words for myself. I pray that you find healing. I pray that you find community of people. I believe that you find community of believers, especially, to help you navigate through this loss in your life, because only God can get us through this loss. The world can do nothing for us. Only Christ can do something for us. So I pray that in your hurt, that you find him, that you draw near to him, that you get yourself around people who love him, because those are going to be the people that are going to be your greatest supporters, especially as you're going through this loss and this hurt and this pain in your life. And again, I'm so incredibly sorry. I'm still navigating this myself. And again, it's painful. It's painful. This world is painful. We are in a fallen, broken world, and it's painful. But God does restore. And I've seen it. And I know what'll happen again. And again, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I don't really know what else to say. This is my heart. This is where I'm at. This is where I feel like I am. And these are the best words I can feel like I can muster up in the moment to share this. But this is where my heart's at right now. This is where my emotional state of mind is at. And where I feel like I'm just getting through another season right now. And unfortunately, this season hasn't been one of the good ones. It's been one of the very trying, very hard ones. But I know I'll look on the other side one day and say, we did that. We got through that. The Lord brought us through that. And we'll be able to look and say the Lord has restored that in our lives. And when that day comes, it'll be a beautiful day. And we'll see what happens next. Anyway, I believe the rest of the playlist down below, going through pregnancy loss, I've got a few videos relating to what that journey has been like for me. And I hope, if this video doesn't do anything, then I'm going to trust that that's the Lord's will. But if it does something, I hope this gives some encouragement to someone out there. And if not encouragement, then someone to relate to, because this is not easy on anyone. Anyway, I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.